Call this 29 Palms Planning Commission meeting to order. Stand for Pledge of Allegiance. Ready to begin? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Commissioner Krushat,
Here.
Commissioner Pahana,
Here.
Commissioner Walker,
Here.
Vice Chair Garcia,
Here.
Chair Cure,
Here.
all present.
These proceedings may be viewed on demand on the City of 29 Palms website at www.29palms.org. You may also live stream this meeting by going to the city website and clicking on the meeting agendas link. Public comments. This is the time for the public to address the Planning Commission on issues within the jurisdiction of the Commission that are not on this agenda. All comments are to be directed to the chair of the Commission and shall not consist of any personal attacks. Members of the public are expected to maintain a professional, courteous decorum during their comments. There is a time limitation of 3 minutes per person. If you haven't already done so, please fill out name and address slips and give them to the Planning Commission Secretary. The Planning Commission is prohibited by the Brown Act, state law, from taking action or discussing at length items not included on the printed agenda. Public comments on specific agenda items will be deferred until consideration of the item on the agenda. Open public comment. Do we have any here that aren't on the item? Shelley, do you know? No. Anyone public comment that's not on the agenda item? Closing public comment. Commission comments and reports of meetings attended. Start over here with Leslie.
Hi, good afternoon. I've not attended any meetings since my last meeting, but I did watch your last meeting via the video on the link.
I haven't attended any meetings since our last meeting.
I also haven't attended any meetings since our last.
And since our last meeting, I have not attended any other meetings.
I do not have any reports of meeting attended. Consent calendar, we have none this week, so we'll skip over and proceed to the public hearing. E-Group Solar Project, continued hearing. Okay. Okay. Go ahead, Keith. Thank
right.
you.
Thank you, Chairman Cure. I'm going to make a very brief presentation. Just since we've gone through the details last time, this project contains a number of components, which I do have backup slides and additional information if the Commission wishes to discuss any particular element in particular detail. We have 2 general plan amendments, 2 rezonings, a development code amendment, a conditional use permit, a development agreement, and an environmental impact report. The meat of the bone is the conditional use permit for the site plan, allowing for a commercial solar farm. There was quite a bit of discussion last time about the community benefit package. Just as a very, very brief overview, it escalates from $105,000 per year to $150,000 per year with annual increases after 5 years of operation. The total contribution is about $5.445 million. In comparison, doing an apples-to-apples comparison, these are the fees per acre that San Bernardino County gets, Riverside County gets, Imperial County gets fee per acre. And if you compare apples to apples, these are the numbers that calculate for fee per acre, which is higher than any of these other numbers. The environmental impact report has been circulated, and we received public comments. We now have the city's CEQA consultants and with concurrence with city legal and city staff's responses to those comments in your package. The EIR concluded that aesthetics were definitely a unavoidable significant impact, with a number of other issues that are either or that is less than significant, either with or without mitigation. Our recommendation, given the size, scope, and policy implications of this, is that the Plan Commission have your discussion and transfers decision-making authority to the City Council. If the Plan Commission wishes to follow this recommendation, the PC may include comments, concerns, or suggestions about the project to the City Council. If the Plan Commission so chooses, you may adopt a Plan Commission resolution recommending that the City Council certify the EIR and adopt the general plan amendments, the rezonings, the development code amendment, the conditional use permit, and the development agreement. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna bring it to the planning commissioners, a brief discussion or questions for staff, or any of the consultants before we move to public comment. Nothing? Max?
I don't have any questions right now.
I have no intention of abdicating my responsibility to make a recommendation concerning this project. I would like to say that I think your analysis, your analytical approach of simply dividing the dollar amount of community benefit by acreage is an oversimplification. There's other factors that go into it, the project's revenue, community impact costs, local economic conditions are all part of a proper analysis. So when I stated that I didn't think that the community benefits package was adequate, and I haven't changed that opinion.
Thank you, Jim. Okay, any other comments? Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and open public comment on the E-Group solar project. What?
Did you want to do the applicant first?
Oh, I didn't know we had that. Sorry. Okay. So I'm gonna close public comment.
No.
What? Please tell me, because this isn't on the agenda either.
Okay.
Applicants have unlimited time to speak about their project, and then follow 3 minutes per person.
Okay.
It's up to the chair's discretion how long the applicant
Yeah,
has to
okay.
speak, but we can open the
In
public.
general, last meeting, we did not open public comment for the applicant presentation.
Every city kind of has a slightly different policy on
Mhm.
it, but let's go ahead and just open public
Okay,
hearing.
open public comment. We'll start with the applicant.
Good evening, Chair Cure, Commissioners. My name is Robert Smith with K&L Gates, representing the applicant E-Group here tonight. Good to see you again. My remarks are mostly in response to questions that were asked by the commissioners at our previous hearing. First, a quick note on the public benefits package, which was discussed in significant detail last time. Just to note, E-Group is already contributing to the community. Within the last several months, they've donated $4,000 in local food distribution as part of the HOPE project, provided and donated approximately 80 STEM books for the public library, and they will be donating $3,600 for the local March Color Run that's coming up, that's also sponsored and organized by the HOPE project. In terms of public benefits, we went over this in significant detail last time, but I thought I would help contextualize the dollar amount that's been contributed by E-Group over the life of the project and how that works within the city's updated budget. Upon build-out, E-Group have immediately become the largest taxpayer in the city if you look at sales tax revenue. Obviously, this isn't sales tax revenue, it's rather an in lieu fee. But it would be the largest sales tax contributor in the city if it was evaluated on that basis, contributing approximately 10% of the city's overall annual sales tax revenue. In terms of the actual annual development fees that are received by the city, overnight, E-Group would be the largest contributor. In fact, would be more than the total amount of annual such fees received by the city on an annual basis. And that'll be done, again, for every year. Through the 35-year length of the project. Based on the city's most recent budget that was recently reviewed by City Council, this would replace the surplus amount projected to be lost in the city's updated annual budget, which was estimated at $137,000. It would pay the vast majority of increased costs of city infrastructure projects that were approved in the most recent budget, which was $183,000, or fund the majority of costs associated with the remaining Project Phoenix construction, which was approximately $175,000. So while it may not fulfill, say, a single position for a new sheriff, there's a number of ways which that annual contribution could be utilized by the city in its discretion as part of the overall city general fund. During the last meeting, the commission asked for additional visual renderings. We've provided those. This first one is a visual rendering where the commission wanted to see the project as shown from Joshua Tree. This is a visual rendering taken from the 49 Palms Oasis Trail. As you can see, there is a very, very thin black line. That's where the project is located, but as you can see, very, very difficult to see, especially if you're not looking for it, and generally part of the existing visual background. We also had a question about what it would look like north of the project site, looking south. The closest publicly available roadway would be from Indian Trail Road. This is the visual rendering as shown from that road. The project site is sort of located there in the center right part of the site, but again, largely subsumed within the surrounding foreground environment and other visual environment. There was also a question about water usage, specifically how much water would be utilized because E-Group has committed to a dewatering program, which is required both under the proposed city code as well as MD, AQMD requirements. To be clear, that would occur during construction only and primarily during the grading, which is estimated to be a total of 40 days of grading activity. That's for dust suppression purposes. We calculated that out. It would require about 1.3 acre feet of water, which again would be brought into the site through a third-party contractor. We'd be purchasing water tanks to utilize on the site, so there wouldn't be any utilization of domestic water supply. In comparison to the project that the Planning Commission recently reviewed for the Offland Development Project, that would be equivalent to approximately 3% of the annual usage that would be used by that development. And again, this would only happen during 40 days of the construction site, and then there wouldn't be significant water usage involved in the operation or other parts of the construction of the facility. And again, it would be trucked in by a third-party supplier. There was a significant discussion concerning valley fever impacts and the concerns about valley fever raised in the community. We do have somebody that could speak to those issues in more detail tonight from our environmental consultant, but so just some general statistics and analysis based upon the most recent publicly available CDPH data. CDPH, and this is available on the website, I can provide the link if you want to see it. Most cases of valley fever in California reported in the Central Valley and Central Coast regions. The numbers in San Bernardino County, while they have gone up, are still exceptionally low compared to other neighboring jurisdictions. So for example, based on CDPH data in 2024, there were a total of 178 cases confirmed or suspected in San Bernardino County. If you compare that to your neighbor Kern County had 3,873 cases, or approximately 20x more than what we see in this county. Again, early 2026 reporting, again by CDPH, shows that those numbers are actually declining as opposed to increasing. And that's only based on, obviously, the first couple months of data, so it's still yet to be determined over the annual cycle. And the primary concerns identified by CDPH concern workers. If a worker is working in a dusty environment, that's why it is an issue that's handled at the state level by the Industrial Relations Board and CDPH, and they have recommendations on how to do that. And certainly those are things that E-Group will work with its contractor to make sure that the workers that are on the site are appropriately safe. For example, by using desk masks or other supportive materials or equipment to make sure that they're safe during grading activities. But again, that's mostly a worker safety consideration that is already taken into account when we work with our contractors. There was a concern raised by the commission last time about a zero risk policy, that sort of any increase in this health concern should be avoided or should be a reason not to approve the project. And certainly we don't want to minimize the concern associated with valley fever in the community, but if there were such a policy, it would basically bring development in the city of 29 Palms to a halt. any new road or infrastructure in the city requires grading. It requires grading of undeveloped areas. So for example, the roads that border this site that the city has asked us to dedicate area to build, those would also need to be graded. And those also raise similar valley fever implications and concerns. It would also eliminate the development of residential housing or any other expansion in the city in areas that aren't currently developed. And that's, a very significant concern if the policy is just we can't have any increase in valley fever whatsoever in the city. There is always some risk, but as concluded in the EIR, that risk is low, and that risk is considered negligible when appropriate mitigation measures are taken into account, like those recommended by AQMD and that are recommended in the development code when it comes to dust suppression. CDPH, for example, concludes that if you appropriately water the site during construction, that is the best way to manage a risk concerned with valley fever. But we've also heard the community's concerns, and E-Group is willing to propose that if this moves forward, obviously, and the project is approved, that we're willing to provide HEPA filters to residents within 1.5 miles of the site, east of the site, again, where the prevailing winds are in the community. And we're willing to do that during the duration of construction, and that includes replacements of HEPA filters as well while the project is under construction. That's been a common condition that's used in other places to address air quality concerns, particularly with residential communities and schools. And that's also a recommended a mitigation measure on CDPH's website. And with that, I didn't want to repeat anything that I presented at the last commission meeting, but I'm available for any questions. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
I do not have any questions for the applicant.
Oh, I'm just getting organized, so do you have questions?
No, I say I don't have questions for
Okay.
the applicant.
Do you have any questions for the applicant, Alex?
Well, I have the same questions I've always asked, and I
Or-
don't think it's.
No, you
What?
keep going.
Go ahead, okay,
well, were you-
No, you're.
thank you.
No, I don't think it's unusual to ask somebody what their expected revenue is on a project. I mean, we asked that of a resort came to our place, Offland. They told us exactly what they expected and what we could expect in TOT taxes and the thing. So I don't know why we're being cagey about the fact of what do you think that your generated revenues are going to be. You had to come up with that number for your financial backers. You didn't say no. We don't have any idea what it is. And I just think that's kind of not being transparent with the community as a whole.
Okay,
mean-
so Jim, I think if you have the same, is it the same question or are you just making a statement?
So that was it. What's your anticipated revenue from this plant?
Like I said in the last meeting, there's a fundamental difference between those two things. When you have a resort community, you know, for example, how much you're going to charge your potential occupant, which is going to allow you to build a pro forma on the site, and you can say how much is going to be justified by those rates as well as TOT. In this case, we don't have a buyer yet, nor would we at this point, but prior to the entitlement and CEQA certification. And so the market will determine that, but until that time, I'm sorry that this is an unsatisfactory answer, but in a public forum, it'd be pure speculation as for me to speculate as to what our overall rate of return is going to be. We're certainly looking to make a profit, but
Yeah.
I would just say that I rely upon the city's third-party analysis that said that the rate of return that the city's going to get is significantly better in most cases than your neighbors. Again, with similarly situated solar projects.
I have a quick question. Do you have an idea what your maintenance costs are gonna be over the course of a year to operate the solar field?
Maintenance, I would say fairly minimal in the sense that we don't anticipate much maintenance. We've committed in the IR that generally we estimate that maintenance will occur probably twice per year. In terms of just hold on 1 second for cost. We'll have to get back to you on that in a second. But I would just say they're going to be fairly minimal given that we do not anticipate a significant amount of maintenance on the site on an annual basis. Of course, accepting some catastrophic event.
Cause I know on base, it costs us a great deal to maintain the solar fields, and I would imagine the maintenance of this would eat into any potential profits, yes? You're not gonna, right? So,
That's correct.
If-
I think there are 3 or 4 major factors when it comes to costs. So I've spoken to the revenue side, which is unknown. And Peter, just. I'm going to ask him to provide a little more detail, but generally the costs that are significant, the cost of steel and fabrication has gone up significantly in the last several years. Tax breaks and revenue have been significantly curtailed, which means that our costs cannot be recovered in that process, primarily due to federal government restrictions. The mitigation costs associated with the project because of the desert tortoise restoration and habitat mitigation are in the millions of dollars, which will depend on the ultimate amount that's required by CDFW and U.S. Fish and Wildlife, but it'll be at least $1 million, if not more. And then there's significant costs associated with what we have to pay SCE for the interconnection upgrades as well, which we pay on our dime. So those are all upfront construction costs. Obviously, grading is another significant cost in this case before we even get to the maintenance side of it. And so that's a significant amount of upfront capital that's being dedicated to the project.
I mean, I know for the base, we're replacing, one of the solar farms, we're replacing the inverters on that farm at roughly $5 million, and it's probably a quarter of what this place will have for inverters. And they've only been in place 10 plus years. So I could imagine the maintenance is gonna be expensive. And so if people are thinking they're gonna be making millions upon millions of dollars, I don't necessarily know if that's true. There's gonna be a lot of cost to build it and then a lot of cost to maintain it. So the profit margin is not,
I'm not asking about
Yeah,
profit
so,
margin.
hey guys, so I think
I'm
we
not
should,
asking about- no,
bring
finish his
this back-
question. I'm not
it's-
asking about
mhm.
profit margin. I'm just asking, they have an estimate of what the revenue's gonna bring in.
I
understand
think
that
that-
it has high maintenance costs.
okay,
and all
let's
of that.
take a minute, please. I think we have options that we're choosing. I don't think we need to debate this specific thing all the way down. I think we need to move on to public comment, bring it back. Okay? All right. So we're going to move into public comments. Thank you. Well, I'm going to have a hard time because of the writing on this one. Charisse Risper. Is that right? Shanice, okay. Shanice Risper.
Like whisper, but with an R.
Shanice Risper. Thank you.
Yes. Good evening, Planning Commission. I'm not sure if you all received the letter I sent during, it was gonna be for the last time before it was canceled. Did anyone get a chance to read it? If not, I can read it.
We'd love for you to read it.
Okay.
Thank
perfect.
you.
All right. On behalf of the HOPE Project, an organization that exists to serve and strengthen our community by meeting the immediate needs and equipping individuals and family with resources, education, and opportunities that promote dignity, stability, and long-term success, we write to express our support for the proposed Geneva Solar Project. Our organization works to strengthen the long-term health and resilience of the City of 29 Palms community. We support projects and partners that demonstrate a commitment not only to responsible development, but also to meaningful community involvement. From our perspective, the presence of E-Group in 29 Palms represents an opportunity to welcome a developer that seeks to be an active participant in the community. We are encouraged by the potential for E-Group to serve as a long-term community partner, one that can engage with local organizations, support community initiatives, and contribute to programs that directly benefit residents. In addition to advancing clean energy goals, the proposed project offers tangible local benefits, including well-paying construction jobs and a community benefits package that could provide sustained resources for city services and infrastructure. At a time where our city needs additional sources of revenue, this project will provide a significant and predictable source of revenue totaling over $5 million over the lifetime of the project. This project provides a unique opportunity to provide additional revenue to support city public services and local businesses. Thank you for your continued leadership and for taking community perspectives into account as you evaluate this project. We respectfully encourage your favorable consideration. And as the Community Outreach Director for Feed the Need in the Hope Project, we have seen them come to our site. We distribute food on a weekly basis to our community monthly, over 1,000 families that are served, and they have actively been on site to observe our operations and have donated money. And as was shown in the slide, they're also one of the sponsors for a color run that we're trying to fund more additional resources for our community. Thank you.
Thank you. George Milopoulos.
Good evening, Commissioners. I'd like to bring my perspective to this discussion. The two parcels involved in this project were purchased in 2004 and 5. Since then, more than a dozen solar companies have expressed interest in developing this property. Why? Because of its proximity to the Carradine substation on 2 Mile Road. It is one of the most viable solar locations in our region. In fact, the city's 2012 ban on solar fields was adopted after years of intense interest in this site from solar developers. This property has long been recognized as ideal for solar use. Meanwhile, there has never been serious interest from home builders. The only major alternative proposal was a golf course community in 2006, which was met with significant public opposition. No individuals or organizations interested in preserving this private land for its scenic value have come forth with offers to purchase it. Second, we should learn from what has already happened. Solar Electric Solutions built solar fields just outside our city limits. Those projects sell power to Southern California Edison, generate energy, and create value, but they do not provide significant revenue to the city of 29 Palms. This project is different. This project does bring significant recurring annual income directly into our city. Some have argued there is no local benefit because the power goes to SCE, but 29 Palms gets its electricity from SCE. Strengthening SCE's energy supply supports grid reliability and reduces the likelihood of planned outages. A stronger grid benefits our residents. Problems with creating dust have also been mentioned, but soil disturbance is temporary and occurs with any development, whether homes, commercial buildings, or infrastructure. Every project must comply with dust mitigation standards. This solar project will be required to follow the same regulations as any other development. Finally, we must consider who this decision affects most. Many speakers at the last meeting were from outside 29 Palms. We respect their opinions. But this decision directly impacts our city's financial future. Our infrastructure needs are real. Our revenue challenges are real. Our city should not lose an opportunity for a new revenue stream because of outside opposition. This project creates jobs, generates recurring revenue, strengthens infrastructure, and supports renewable energy. It makes responsible use of property that has been identified as ideal for solar development for nearly 20 years. According to the liaison from the Marine Base, this solar project has been evaluated and does not interfere with the base's mission. Please do the right thing for our city and recommend approval of this project. Thank you.
Thank you. Dane Austin.
Good evening. My name is Dane Austin. I've been a resident 29 Palms for 5, going on 6 years now. Originally from Orange County, came out here to build a life and my kids, and we love it here. Robert really hit everything that I came up here to say about Valley Fever, the dust, the aesthetic of solar. I mean, really, when it comes to solar, it's about perspective. When I look at a solar field, I see technology being used in a sustainable and regenerative way. I see something that is helping the community, helping obviously the private landowners and people who invest in the city. George has been a huge investor in the city. He owns quite a bit of land. He's a major factor in all of this, and having this project approved, I think, is not only going to bring money to the city that's desperately needed, but it's really going to open up some doors and maybe start to have the community start to really think about solar energy on a bigger scale, and taking it private and utilizing it in a more efficient fashion. It should be literally used everywhere, and it's not. And the Mojave Desert is soaked with 300 days of sunlight every year. I mean, the fact that we don't have solar everywhere, to me, just seems it seems off, and it seems like it's something that we need. I know the city needs it, and I really think that this should be approved. Like I said, it comes down to perspective on how it looks. It's relatively low impact as far as construction. When you look at any other type of construction, whether it be residential homes or any sort of industrial, you're not looking at smokestacks. You're not looking at chain link fences and lots of infrastructure built into it. It's really just solar panels that are covering the earth to soak up the energy to kind of share it with the community. So I don't think there's a reason to not approve this. I can't think of one. I mean, there really is not a reason to not approve this. So I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's give a little friendly reminder. I know we've had one hearing on this topic already, and there's a lot of public comments. So if you feel like you stated that it's been repeated, maybe someone already commented, if we can shorten it, that'd be great. Obviously, I want to hear everyone's public comment, but I just want a reminder of that. Let's go ahead next to Kayla Neely.
Good evening, council members. My name is Kayla Neely, and I'm here in support of the E-Group Solar Project. We live in one of the most solar-rich regions in the entire country, the Mojave Desert. Just like my dad said, we receive 300 days of sunlight a year. That's not just a poetic detail, it's an economical, environmental asset. Solar energy reduces dependencies on import fossil fuels, stabilizes long-term energy costs, and contributes to grid resilience in a state that faces increased heat and wildlife-related strain. If development is going to happen, and it will, we have a choice about what kind. We can either resist everything and let opportunity pass us by, or we can shape projects that reflect our values. I understand the hesitation. Our quiet deserts, our dark skies, our proximity to Joshua Tree. That's why we're here. But responsible renewable energy development does not automatically erase the character. We can coexist with preservation. Solar isn't a casino, it's not a warehouse corridor. It's infrastructure that aligns with the landscape we already live in. And more than that, it signals who we are becoming. We have the opportunity to model a different kind of desert town, one that supports artists, small businesses, regenerative projects, and sustainable living. Clean energy can attract that kind of residents and entrepreneurs who wants to build intentionally, not extract and leave. If we steward development wisely, we don't lose our identity, we strengthen it. The question isn't whether we grow, it's whether we grow by design. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Okay, you're gonna have to help me with this last name. Paul Nugent? Nugent? What is it? Nugent. Thank you.
Good evening. Yeah, I'm just going to be brief, but I've been a resident in 29 Palms for 10 years. I'm sure most of you have seen the transformation and the city's growth. I love this city. I love the direction that it's going in. I think the city have done a fantastic job, and I want to see that growth continue. I think this project is part of that continued story, and I just want to voice my support. Thank you.
Thank you. Lena Neely.
Hello, I'm Lana Neely. I'm
Lana.
20 years old and I'm proud to call myself a member of 29 Palms. I've lived in the city for about 6 years now and I love it a lot. And as much as I know its pros, I also know its cons. I grew up in Anaheim where the funding for schools were quite vast. We got to go on many field trips, and my brother, who is now in 8th grade, is about to go on his first field trip into the national park, which I think is a great experience. But me and my family go into the park many times a month. And I think that is kind of where the problem lies. The city lacks funding. And I'd like my brother to experience many of the things I experienced when I was his age. Going on field trips, having fun, and I want his school to have that funding. And with this project, I believe it will bring funding that the school may need if it goes in that direction. I also think that it can help fund new parks, repair our roads with the many potholes that it has, and just really support our city. So I hope that you all will vote in favor for this project so that we can have a better city. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Pat Flanagan.
Good evening, Commission members. My name is Pat Flanagan. I'm a biologist. I have been and I am a 23-year resident of the Desert Heights area, which is essentially within 29 Palms. And I am I'm on the board of the Morongo Basin Conservation Association, and as such, I have followed the development of all of the solar projects that have been out in this area. What drew me to being Miss Dust, as they call me, is that I am downwind of those first solar projects that are still blowing dust in my direction. So they don't quit after development. And if you drive down there, I sent you a letter and I presented pictures that show the dust blowing from 10 years ago today, practically, that's blowing. And there's a new little one went in that we didn't even know about. And so I'm breathing that dust as well. So for those who think that this dust is going to go away, we are on what's called a sand transport path, and it isn't going to go away. It'll be here the entire time. What's interesting is where I live is intact desert. I don't care how much the wind blows, it stays stable. Nothing moves because it's intact. It has the mycorrhizal fungi on the surface, which holds it together. When I can't see the marine base from my house, I know the dust is coming down from Lucerne Valley and making a turn, in front of the marine base. When I can't see my fence, then I know the wind is coming from the west, and I'm going to be breathing that. So whatever they say, water does not work. This is the desert. It has not worked in any of the projects. Please believe that. It's very important because the general plan vision, the City of 29 Palms, seeks to create and promote the economic and social well-being of its residents while maintaining a relaxed atmosphere and clean air quality, as well as simultaneously creating a stronger and more diversified economy through attracting arts and tourism development, health, retirement, recreation, and clean, non-polluting industries. That is the job of the city. The city is not an entity unto itself. It's here to protect the area for the people who live here. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeff Johnson.
Good evening. I clearly oppose this project on many fronts. Looking down Easy Street, I'm interested to note that the intersection of Easy Street and Samarkand is a hill which will be removed in order to make that intersection. I feel strongly that a good topography map should be presented to you and to the city to demonstrate how much and where the soil will be put. And I have not seen in the environmental report any topography map. It's something that should be required and is required in most developments in California, and it's significant and important. Solar fields generally don't encourage plant growth, and I noticed at the last meeting that there is a person assigned to encourage plant growth in that solar area. I'm wondering if there'll be a permanent on-site water tank, or this is something that will amazingly be encouraged with trucking water into an area where it's unlikely that plants will grow within 10 or 15 years. You know, it takes a while for a native growth to grow. And solar fields do not encourage plants to grow under them. Generally, they're barren and the dust blows. What guarantees will be permanently adhered to as far as the dust goes, and what entity in our city will resolve any dust issues in a quick manner? What agency will we have that will respond quickly and deal with a permanent dust problem right west of our city? It's not far from my house, and it's just upwind of everybody in this town. This is a permanent installation in our city, and it will set up a precedent and downgrade our open areas and inevitably lead to more development, not in the interest of our citizens. We as citizens of our special community should feel rather insulted by this encroachment and breaking the deal that was set in 2012 to keep solar farms out of our urban
Thank you
area.
so much.
I encourage this commission not to
Thank
cede its
you.
authority to the city council.
John Tally Jones.
Good evening, commissioners. First off, I commend the commissioners for their thoughtful questions on the E-Group solar project on February 17th and the wisdom of taking more time to review the proposal. I particularly appreciate Commissioner Krushat's assessment that the benefits package proposed by E-Group is meager. I agree, it should be considerably more generous. If we are expected to sacrifice our health and our unique environment for coin, it better be worth it. Contrary to what Mr. Smith suggested on February 17th, there is no record of the City Council having approved a benefits package. I'm hoping that this is a misstatement. It seems that there is still room to negotiate. I am distressed by the recommendation to transfer the Commission's decision-making powers to City Council. Why should you give up your authority and your expertise? This is why you are here. What is the point of the Commission otherwise? I get that E-Group is working against the clock. They have until July to start building the project before tax incentives evaporate. But we need to do what's best for the city, not the developer. An end run is being attempted even before the environmental impact report has been completed. Let the process play out. And speaking of the provisional environmental impact report, in the draft version, the CEQA element on aesthetics has been declared unmitigable. To make the situation even worse, there is a new solar field currently under construction on the east side of Lear. If approved, the E-Group project would make 3 unsightly scars in the same general area. That's a lot of solar density. Do we need it? Thank you.
Thank you. Aiden Marshall.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Ed Marshall. I'm speaking on behalf of Citizens for Responsible Industry. We're a coalition of local residents and labor organizations advocating for the protection of the environment and workforce standards. This is the second time the Planning Commission is being asked to recommend approval of the project and certify the EIR. Again, these actions remain premature because the city has not complied with CEQA, and second, there's still no substantial evidence to support the required approval findings. At the last hearing, we submitted detailed written comments supported by qualified experts, demonstrating that the draft EIR failed to adequately analyze significant health risks, various public health impacts, and biological resource impacts. These were not responded to in the draft EIR, the final EIR, or the staff report. Thus, there's no substantial evidence in the record to uphold the findings requested today. Thank you.
Thank you. Russ Cohn. Did I say that right? Oh, yeah, Cohn. Thank you.
Thank you for the speakers. Can I ask you how many other operating solar fields you have in the United States working right now?
We'll just make a public comment and no questions.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I believe they have none. I think that's the answer. Would you hire a contractor who has zero references of work being done to work on your home? Would you hire someone who has zero, I mean, you can't even find them, what they've done out here, and you're letting them use the city of 29 Palms as guinea pigs for this. And we have a definite 2012 boycott from the Planning Commission, who voted this in, to boycott solar. I'm just asking you to uphold the development codes. And the people who spoke for the project, one I believe was the owner of the land and his friends and family, and I take issue with the person who said most of the people were not residents of this city. I know many people. We're all residents here. I live in 29 Palms, my wife, I know plenty of people, and he was incorrect. We do live here and we care for this town. It's a lovely place. I've been here 10 years, me and my wife. And the people who are for it were given money for their, you know, it's a payoff, it's a scam. I ask you again, someone who's unproven in this entire country, they're using 29 Palms as a guinea pig project. And the money they're offering is pennies. And they don't even have answers that you guys have asked yet. And I don't want, and one lawsuit can ruin everything. If you don't take into account what can happen from numerous things, including the valley fever. So I ask the commission, please do not approve this project, and definitely do not vote yes. I'd rather you send it to the city council than vote yes on this. Thank you.
Thank you. David Fick.
Good evening, Commissioners. David Fick here, 40-year resident of Joshua Tree, 20-year board member of MBCA. And MBCA 29 Palms is in the Morongo Basin. And 30 years ago, I stopped 1,200 garbage trucks a day coming through Highway 62 and off to Amboy long ago. So we work on behalf of 29 Palms also. I live in Joshua Tree, eastern Joshua Tree, on the other side of Copper Mountain. I did send an email to all of the planning commissioners last Friday. I hope you all read it. I do have a long history out here and events. In fact, my first question would be, who had the idea of possibly doing an end run around the planning commission? My guess is, on my read on this is going to get rejected by the planning commission, which is probably the read of the proponent. The proponent is thinking, well, we got to get around it somehow, so that's what they're trying to do. And that's what I'm questioning, is who had this idea? Did the staff have this idea, or did Terra Nova have this idea? In my email, I did say I did have history. In fact, I have more history of Terra Nova than what you guys know. I battled Frank Lucchino, mayor of Yucca Valley, and Nicole, who was planning consultant in Yucca Valley on the Walmart Supercenter. We won that EIR. We had to go in settlement. Long story. I won't get involved. We only got 3 minutes here. I then dealt with Terra Nova for 10 years. Gated community. We defeated them in Sequa. After 6 days, they threw in the towel and gave up. They even had to pay off our lawyer. That was, like I said, that was 10 years. I think Terra Nova has a bias towards the proponents right now. And I think, I know Frank Lucchino brought it in here, most likely, but I don't know why Terra Nova is involved here. They're always for the proponents. And that's my suspicion, is somehow this happened, that there's a possible end run. Now, I just heard here, they're gonna need 1.4, 1.3 acre feet of water. Joshua Tree Solar, JT Solar project, which was the abandoned airport, 110 acres, needed 30 acre feet of water, and that's a flat area. They were just gonna mow down the creosotes and put in still panels, not tracking panels. So if 184 acres on inappropriate land, it's not flat, inappropriate land, to properly compress it, not to necessarily residential standards, but to even properly compress it would need probably 35 to 40 acre feet of water. I've been in this biz a long time. I know this kind of stuff. So 30 acre feet of water would be the minimum they'd need. I don't know what they're talking about on that part. So, so that's about it for now.
Thank you. Cindy Bernard.
Yeah, some of this I'm saying what I sent to you in a letter, but I feel it needs to be said publicly. On a slide, E-Group misrepresented the City Council vote in a public hearing, saying City Council voted unanimously to support public benefits package. Vote never happened. As a lawyer, one would think he would know the difference between a workshop that happens before City Council and a discussion and action item that happens in City Council. And for some reason, they felt very comfortable making that misrepresentation to the Planning Commission. I do not know why. Other misrepresentations. I'm sorry, Keith, it's not apples and apples on those comps. As Jim pointed out, those comps require a lot of complex information that has not been provided to the Planning Commission. For instance, the Darden Fresno facility that's being highlighted to you is a 9,500 acre project. That's why it's only $22 an acre. Not only that, it is supplying 2,000 jobs to the Fresno area and $160 million in projected community benefit. There is absolutely no relationship between the project that Keith is pointing out as a comp and that E-Group is pointing out as a comp and the E-Group project. They're not comparable. I agree with Jim. The benefits package is absolutely inadequate on this project, and that's all there is to it. It's inadequate. Not only that, the Darden project is happening on already disturbed land. This project is going on pristine desert land, which, as Pat has pointed out, is going to create a permanent 200-acre scar. As he said, it cannot be returned to its prior state. It's going to remain, if those panels come off of it, just an undeveloped parcel, blank of anything, to blow around in the wind. I also agree with what's been said. This is an end round around Planning Commission. I've heard what happened in the halls of City Hall after you made your decision. Some people were very upset, and so they came up with a way to try to get around the Planning Commission because they were unhappy that the Planning Commission was asking hard questions about this project and might not approve it. And that is where that comes from, this idea that somehow Planning Commission's authority should be superseded and have it go directly to Council. And Council has the final say either way. As far as I understand it, Keith, tell me I'm wrong. It doesn't matter. You can make your recommendation to Council, whatever your recommendation is, and Council still has the final say. So sending it to Council now without a recommendation is meaningless. Do your work. You were doing great work last week. All of you were asking really great questions. Continue to do that work. Take the time you need. Whatever timeline they have, that's their timeline. It's not our timeline. We do not have to hit a March 10th City Council date. They do. And that's what this is really about, is the city manager wanted to hit that March 10th council date, period. And they'll do anything to hit that date. but we don't need to do that. We need to take the time to look at what's a very complex project that is going to have lifetime effects on our city. And by the way,
Thank you,
I'm a
Cindy.
65-year resident. My family bought in 1961.
Thank you. Kurt Kepler?
Greetings, planning commissioners and city staff. My name is Kurt Kepler. I have a home just to the east of the proposed project site, and I'm here to voice my opposition to the project as currently described in the environmental impact report. It's not so much what we know, but it's what we don't know that scares me. To step back, I love solar, and there are solar projects now being put up elsewhere that go lightly on the land, and this is not one of them. The project site, as stated earlier, is not remotely flat and includes numerous hills, rocky outcroppings, and washes. The developers have stated that due to terrain challenges, there will need to be extensive grading and altering of the landscape. 250,000 cubic yards of cut, 250,000 cubic yards of fill, which for a solar farm is a shocking amount of earth moving. But crucially, nowhere in hundreds of pages of documentation and appendices is the grading plan described with any specificity. Throughout the report, the grading plan is referred to but never presented. Where is it? It's not anywhere that the public has access to. We need to know details describing how the earth will be disturbed and distributed before we can even begin to make an informed judgment of the community health risks, aesthetic impacts, and environmental destruction. For instance, what are the contours of the grading design, including comparisons between current and proposed elevations? Where is the cut fill map showing where the earth is being moved and where it's being deposited? Where is the elevation map showing the proposed extension of Easy Street from 2 Mile to the bottom of the ravine? As stated earlier, the road would pass through several hills, necessitating extensive earth removal. There are no elevation maps or diagrams that describe what this will involve. I have major concerns about valley fever. Confirmed cases have gone up 5,000% in San Bernardino since 2023. Yes, it's a lot less than Kern County, but we don't want to become Kern County. I have major concerns about the significant and avoidable negative aesthetic consequences mentioned in the EIR. I have major concerns about the environmental destruction involved in tearing up this much undisturbed desert. We all know it's going to be bad, but without knowing the specifics of the grading plan, we are still in the dark as to how bad. And the dust control the dust control after the installation relies on soil mitigation that includes planting plants without water, and I'm very curious what the plan is if that does not work. What happens, which is, in my opinion, is likely that those plants don't just miraculously sprout up.
Thank you so much.
You know how I feel.
Shelley, did you have another comment come in? Okay, Mary Kay Sherry. Okay.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is Mary Kay Sherry, and I'm a 40-plus year resident of 29 Palms. I'm speaking in support of a written request submitted by Suzanne Lyons asking that the city recirculate the EIR under CEQA guideline 15088.5 before any certification. This is a procedural issue about public disclosure. The draft EIR states it relied on a grading plan to qualify major grading, 140 acres of disturbance and approximately 264 cubic yards of cut and 264 cubic yards of fill. But that referenced grading plan was not included in the circulated draft EIR appendices and was not publicly available during the comment period. Without the grading plan, the public could not meaningfully review the engineering basis for impact conclusions on dust and air quality, drainage and erosion, biological disturbances, or visual impacts. In addition, the final EIR includes revisions and supplemental technical information after the draft EIR period, such as new capacity metrics and other revised assumptions and mitigation. CEQA requires recirculation when significant new information is added after draft EIR notice, but before certification in a way that deprives the public of a meaningful opportunity to comment. I respectfully ask the Commission to enter Ms. Lyons' request into the record and refrain from recommending certification unless and until the EIR recirculated consistent with 15088.5. Also, to address the tortoise, last time in the EIR it said there were 2 tortoises that were found on the property. Well, you have to look for tortoise when the tortoises are out. And I've got a few pictures. Here's one that shows the tortoise out and about. Here's another one with 2 tortoises. This is my picture, Kurt, not people. And then this one. So I have pictures in my phone filled with tortoises that live in that area. Also, the landscape. You showed pictures tonight of from Indian Trail looking north. Well, I went out there and I went where the homes are, which is north of Indian Trail, and you look out over the big wash and you see this huge expanse of desert. I wish I could have blown those pictures up because it shows exactly where that big cut is going to be. I hope all of you had a chance to look at that YouTube video that Gretchen Grunt provided last. You should have received it in your email. It shows you, a lot of people look at our desert and they think it's a vast wasteland of nothing. But what is underground, it's like a tip of an iceberg. We see the creosotes and a few plants on top. We don't see what's on the bottom.
Thank you. Do I have any other public comments? Close public comments. Just want to thank you all for coming out tonight and our last meeting for the public comment. And I'm going to bring it back to the planning commissioners. I just want to briefly point out our 4 options here: approve, deny, split recommendations, or to bump it up to the city council.
I've got a quick question. If we vote and it's 4-1 for denial, could the city council just pull the project up and still say, no, we want to review it and we're going to approve it anyway?
It will require a public hearing before the city council.
Right, so, to that comment, you know, the community benefits package is something that we're all excited about as far as if we could work something out with the company that wants to invest here, but it's not planning commission's scope of work to be discussing any benefits package, that anything to do with the general plan or general fund, or that we can make a recommendation based off what we assume in our findings to the city council. It sounds like, based off the last meeting and what I'm hearing today, we might have a split decision. And so I would like to, pending any questions, make a motion that we submit a split decision to the city council.
Okay, and do you have more? Do you want to go ahead, Alex?
I just want to say I'm all for renewable energy, but I know quite a few people at the top of my head downwind of this project that this dust will greatly affect. And this area is extremely windy, and no matter what mitigation we think they're able to do, there will be dust and families will be affected. I feed quite a few families in that area that I know are on oxygen that require clean air. And yes, we don't have any say on this benefits package and whatnot. But I'm not here to negotiate, but I am here to say that I do not think it's adequate for the cost of those people. And rezoning all of that land that will be just completely wiped clean, and things will not grow there. Like this is our home, this is our desert, and it's up to us to look out for it. And $105,000 a year, I feel like we're just reaching to grab whatever we can, but I do not think it's adequate, and I don't approve of this project.
Right, that sounds like a recommendation.
Okay, so
I agree.
Right.
before we do that, I have a few things that I want to complete just for the record from the last meeting, and there's some clarifications and a couple of things that have come up. One was on the clarification I had asked last meeting and have asked staff to clarify. Does whether the 50 megawatt threshold is referenced if it's AC or DC in the package?
AB 205 doesn't address whether the 50 megawatts is measured in AC or DC power. There's no case law in this area either. My thought process is that, like we've seen in a lot of different areas, when the state has policy mandates, they're going to interpret statutory language to favor those policy mandates. And I think that if the project came to them under either AC or DC, that the state would probably allow the project to move forward. If not, there's always a very good chance the applicant would just make the project bigger. There is the land there for that, so that's also another possibility.
Okay, and then for clarity, this application, is the AC interconnection, I'm just trying to understand that the capacity, is it the DC solar, what is it referring to in their application?
Yeah, so they have the capacity to do it, and that technically meets state law.
As a AC or DC? As a DC, right?
A
Okay.
DC.
Thank you. So those are my clarifications on that specific item. I did also want to bring up, because there's a few questions on clarifying the city council, that this city council has already formally reviewed the benefits package.
They have reviewed the benefits package, and they've given consensus to move it forward as proposed.
Okay. And then thank you guys for providing those additional renderings. That was something I requested last time. I just want to understand with staff, are those additional visuals a part of the analysis? Or is that separate? I know last time, I believe you said that it was not part of the CEQA analysis, but is that something you're analyzing since we're a tourist town and that's part of our...
The original visual simulations that are in the EIR were part of the analysis. The simulations that you saw in the PowerPoint were not part of the EIR and have not been analyzed by the city.
Thanks for clarifying all of those. Okay, so you want to move forward with, sounds like a split motion, or do you have more questions? I'm sorry.
Excuse me. Yeah,
Go
I
ahead.
have something. I mean, two of the points that I wanted to bring up was, the first one was, as well as doing what's right for the community as we see it both in the general plan and in development, we also have to look at what does the community want. And I first want to say that, we had a moratorium on commercial solar fields, and we've had it since 2012. We don't have a moratorium on hotels. We don't have a moratorium on resorts. We don't have a moratorium on apartment buildings. We don't have a moratorium on grocery stores. We had a moratorium on commercial solar fields because they have a significant impact to our small community. We've had that on the books since 2012. And between then and now, nobody, not one planning commissioner, not one city council member, not one citizens group, not one business group has come forward and said, hey, you know what? That's really bad for us. We got to get rid of that moratorium. We wanted that moratorium. Now, we would still have it if it wasn't for AB 205, okay? So that's why we're here. So I think the first thing is what did the citizens of 29 Palms want? They don't want a commercial field inside their city limits because we're a small town. We're not Fresno. We're a small town, and it has a significant impact. As far as the benefits package, you're right. We didn't do the negotiation, but we can comment on it. Okay. All right. And so what I'm saying is yes, the amount that's coming in isn't even designated for any project. It goes into our general fund and gets lost in the noise of our budget. It's not a significant addition to our budget. And and we maintain about a 77% of our operating budget, so we maintain about $11 million in a reserve. So it's not like we're hurting for the money. Now there's three things that can happen. If we said no, don't move forward, and the city council said no, there's three outcomes. The first outcome was E-Group, or the five guys in the Temecula office, can sit there and say, that's it, we can't get our funding, we're not going to be able to start by the 4th of July, and they pull out. The second outcome is it goes before the CEC, California Energy Commission, they look at all the aspects. They look at the density of fields, they look at the significant impact. And the other thing the California Energy Commission can do, they have all the expertise to go at this thing really, really hard. We have a lot of unanswered questions. But they have the expertise to really look at this, okay? And they could come back and say, you're right, no. It has a very deleterious effect on 29 Palms. Third outcome, CEC does all their homework and they says, yep, that's it, we're gonna okay it. And the plant comes in. And we get maybe less than $180,000 a year, or we get less than it. It doesn't really affect us. Let me give you an analogy. If somebody came to my yard and said, I'm gonna tear your yard up and I'm gonna give you $20 a month. But if I have to go to the state and get permission to do it, I'm only gonna give you $10 a month. I still get my yard torn up. So why aren't we fighting for the citizens of 29 Palms and saying, okay, let's stick to the moratorium and see where it goes? So if we say no, and the council says no, then it goes before the California Energy Commission, and I'm fine with that.
Jim, this is the state of California. They're pushing hard for solar.
I know they're
Chances of
pushing
them
hard for
saying
solar.
no
I understand
is
that.
really slim.
That's not
They've
true.
checked all of the boxes to pass the California Energy Commission.
We don't know that. Then why didn't they go to the California
Because
Energy
they're
Commission
trying to
in the
be a
first
good
part?
partner to the city of 29 Palms.
So as of right now, two have been, one has been approved, the other one has been denied. Shasta County has been denied.
Because it wasn't a
And-
50 megawatt plant.
But that's the thing. It doesn't. There's still a 50-50 chance, regardless of anything. It's not just they're going to push it and approve it. They've already proven that that's not necessarily true.
Right.
Fine. They can still go to the California, and if they'll do it, then that'll happen, and they'll get their project in. So let it go to the California Energy Commission.
And then we don't get anything from it.
No,
We
we'll
do get something.
They say, okay, the community benefit is we're gonna continue donating to the Hope Project, which is a great thing, helps the city, but that's the benefit the city
Did you
gets.
just, what we
That's-
get
Lose out
now,
on anything
what we
else.
get now is just lost in the noise level of our budget.
So you have a lot of great points, Mr. Krusha. I agree with a lot of them. So your finding is that our 2012 moratorium against them, we don't really have anything to say when it comes to the benefit package. We want more. We're advocating for more. We would like more. You explained our details of which path we could take. As far as our position as a planning commission, we now have to say our findings and make a
Okay,
recommendation.
right. We need a recommendation, so.
So I think that we are ready. So let's restate your separate motions of.
No, she can just bring it
Just
up
go?
for motion, and then we
Okay.
can vote on it. We can vote yes, no.
I think that we're in a split
Okay.
option.
Yeah, so I think that the
Recommendation.
motion that's on the table it would be to forward a split recommendation to
Mhm.
the city council. So we would need a second to that motion. And then I think maybe the easiest way to do it would be to go down the line and say whether or not you're in favor of approval or denial of the project, and then in favor of approval or denial of the motion. Little bit confusing, but I think we can probably work through it.
Okay, I think one more thing for myself. I feel very neutral to this stance. I definitely feel like we have a moratorium on this solar project. I think that it will have issues with air quality, whether it's mitigatable or not. I do understand we also live in a desert where it's dusty. I am someone who suffers from those issues. I do see that the AB 205 asked a lot of questions and research on that this would qualify. I know the applicants have stated that they would make changes to make it qualify. So it's really, at this point, if that wasn't the
So
case.
I think
I'd
then
be
the
there.
motion would be to move a split recommendation to city
Mhm.
council, and that recommendation would be, tell me if I'm wrong, anybody tell me if I'm wrong, 2 in favor of approving the project, 2 in favor of denying the project, and then 1 neutral.
Okay.
And if that's your motion,
I'll make a second to that motion.
and
Okay.
then now we just need to vote in favor of the motion. We don't need to worry about
Okay. So
documenting who's in favor of approving or denying.
So
the
now
project.
we're voting in favor of the project in toto or not in favor? of
No,
the
we are
project?
We're-
in favor of forwarding a split recommendation to the city council, and that split recommendation is gonna be 2 commissioners in favor of approving the project, 2 commissioners in favor of denying the project, and then 1 planning commissioner who's neutral.
Okay. So,
So
are we
I-
going to second?
One more
Mhm.
before we move into the second. So the city council are the elected body by the people. And so we have, you know, it sounds like our finding is that we have our 2012 no thank you to solar. What we're chancing, which is to the decision maker, is the community benefit should they choose to move the project forward.
Well, no, they're either for the project, and
Right.
mine continues on the fact that I think that if we hold firm as a city, then it goes before the California Energy Commission. And if it goes before the California Energy Commission, they fall into a new 271-day. They don't
Category,
start
right.
bulldozing on the 4th of July, and we'll see who E-Group is. Either they fold like a house of cards.
So then I would like to make a motion of the split decision with, I believe it's 1 for, 3 against, and 1 neutral.
Well, we can vote.
Regardless,
we
it's
can-
split.
We can vote on the motion is to make a split,
Yes, the split
recommendation to the city council. We will then vote, and that will determine what the split is. Yes?
No, the split would be that we agree on sending this split to city council.
Well,
So,
it would go anyway. If we went 2-2 and abstain, it goes to the city council anyway. If it goes if it goes 4-1, it goes to city
Right.
council. If
Or-
it goes 3-2, it goes
yeah.
to city council.
The other motion could be, instead of split, to be approval or deny and vote.
Yeah. So let's just vote on the package.
So, someone want to make a motion, one
So
of these
right now,
motions.
we do have a motion and a second
Yeah,
to
let's go.
forward the split recommendation,
Split recommendation,
which is
approval, deny,
2-2-1.
Is that what?
I thought Commissioner Walker
She just
seconded.
changed her.
I did.
no,
say-
yeah.
Well, she said it, and then we started talking some more, and then you kind of clarified what the motion was,
Yeah.
and I seconded that motion.
Okay.
Leslie's not changed her
Commissioner
original.
Pahan, is that your motion still, or is there?
The split decision, yes, I would like that to go forward.
Okay.
Max, that was your
That is I'm the second for that.
Commissioner Krushat?
I'm voting no on General Plan Amendment 23-0001, 24-001, rezoning 23-00001,
It's not the
rezoning
current
24-01, Development Code Amendment, Conditional Use Permit, and the Development Agreement and the certification of the Environmental Impact Report, no.
So, Commissioner Krushat, I'm just clarifying the motion that's on the table. What is your decision on the
Can you
motion?
repeat the
No.
motion? Can you repeat the
No.
motion?
Okay. Commissioner Pahana?
Aye.
Commissioner Walker?
Aye.
Vice Chair Garcia?
So if I say aye, I'm voting
The split
the
decision.
You're
split
voting for the
decision,
split
correct?
decision.
Can you
Yes,
you
and aye.
can you
Aye.
repeat the split
Chair Kier?
decision?
How is that?
We're already voting.
Okay.
We've done the motion.
Okay. You know that I already voted then to be neutral. I
Okay,
have
so
to
you're neutral?
Yeah.
Okay. And that's approved.
And will you repeat the
Wait a minute. what's-
motion?
A split
You need
decision,
to-
he voted yes to a split decision of 2-2 and an abstain?
So what the split was, two
Thank you.
commissioners who were in favor of approving the project, and that would be Commissioners Walker and Commissioner Pahana.
They're
Then
voting
two
for the
commissioners,
project.
hold
Goes
on,
forward.
two commissioners in favor of denying the project,
Yeah.
and that would be Commissioners Krushat and Garcia, and then one commissioner, Commissioner Cure, who was neutral on the project.
Okay, thank you for restating it
Yeah.
for
Okay.
clarity. All right. So
And that motion passed.
we're moving forward.
So
Hold
that's
on,
moving
please.
forward to City Council.
Okay, discussion and potential action items. None? Okay.
No discussion potential. action
Community Development Director updates.
I just want to let you know that we have a building in the north end of Adobe that it went through some renovations, or adding an ADA bathroom and some ADA upgrades. We have approved that at an administrative use permit level. Unless someone wants to have this at the planning commission, the decision will be final here later on this week.
Can you just zoom it a little?
Sure.
Okay. It's
So the improvements are the ADA path of travel along the parkway, and upgrades to handicap restrooms.
This is an update, we're not talking at length.
Yeah,
Right.
just
Right.
update. Thank you.
Just an update. Yeah.
Okay, study session none. And now selection of the planning commission chair and vice chair.
Well, if you guys would like to discuss, otherwise I would like to motion.
Okay, do we discuss how? I have a proposal. I would like to nominate myself for chairman, and I would like Alex to be the co-chair. My platform is I attend the hard meetings, I ask the hard questions, and I'm willing to take the bullets to the chest. And I think Alex having an extra year will give him the experience he needs to step into the position.
Did you have,
I was gonna recommend, Max as chair and Krisha as, vice chair.
okay,
So we would either just have to, make a motion and then we vote on the motion. Or if anybody else has an opinion they'd like to share.
do you want to make a motion?
What? I make a motion that we vote on the first ticket.
Okay, let's vote
I'll
on the.
second that motion.
Thank you. Okay, can move to voting on this motion of Jim as chair and Alex as vice
Alex
chair.
is co-chair.
Commissioner Kushat,
Aye.
Commissioner Pahana,
Nay.
Commissioner Walker,
Nay.
Vice Chair Garcia,
Aye.
Chair Cure.
Nay.
So the motion fails. Do we have another motion?
I motion that we.
I want a motion to have Leslie be chair because
Well, we're gonna
she hasn't been chair since I've been here, and I would love to see that happen.
I'd
And
like to
Alex be
second
vice
that.
chair.
Okay, so the motion is to have Leslie as the chair and who as the vice chair?
Alex.
Alex as the vice chair. Okay, so Commissioner Kushat. Commissioner Pahana,
Nay.
Commissioner Walker,
Nay.
Vice Chair Garcia,
Aye.
Chair Cure.
Aye.
The
Okay.
motion fails again.
The
Continue.
motion that we select Max as chair, Jim as vice.
I'll second.
Chair and Jim as vice. Got too many motions on here. So Commissioner Kushat,
Just so we can go.
Commissioner Pahana,
Aye.
Commissioner Walker,
Aye.
Vice Chair Garcia,
Aye.
Chair Cure.
Aye.
Okay, approved. So Max is the chair and Jim is the vice chair.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Oh, I get to adjourn the meeting? Awesome. This has been a fun meeting, but we're going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you all.